Welcome to the Legacy Solutions Podcast, where we discuss the principles of mindset, management, and maintenance, and how each plays a pivotal role in building your life, your family, and your business. Thanks for joining in on the conversation with your host, Darnisha.
Family, we are back for another episode of Legacy Solutions Podcast. And this week I have another special guest, Miss Rolanda Watson, EA, with me. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So what's this EA behind your name? Please give us.
It is an enrolled agent. That just means that I have been credentialed by the Internal Revenue Service to specialize in taxation.
So let me do a little plug. So you study tax law, right?
Yes.
Business, individual. So we as EAs, we have studied tax law. I had to add that in there. A little plug. Okay.
Yes, we.
Yes, we. So thank you so much for joining me this week. As I mentioned, we are doing a series on management of our resources. And this week I brought on Rolanda Watson. She is another co-author in a book project or collaboration that we're in. It's called Small Business Tax Strategies. And so, Ms. Rolanda, if you can tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into the book.
All right. Again, my name is Rolanda Watson. I am a second generation tax professional. That just means I worked with a family member for several years, been in the industry since 1996. And after a while, I decided to start my own practice. Just wanted to kind of step out and expand and do some things on my own. So did that a few years ago. As we said, I am an enrolled agent. I work with small business owners with their taxes, specializing with those in the transportation industry. And I love coaching other tax pros to help them to start, build, and expand their business. And some of them want to become enrolled agents as well. So I do that, and I love helping people.
That's a lot.
Not when you like it, it works. It works.
That's good. So what made you get into so you teach tax and accounting professionals, and then you also help business owners with their tax and accounting needs. So what made you get into teaching other professionals?
I know for me, the journey was lonely. In our industry, it could be competitive, and then there's so many different things that the IRS is doing that you will almost seem like you're by yourself, and you're always grasping for the next rule or the next law change. So I wanted to create a platform where people can feel like that they're not alone. They're doing this, but they have a group, they have a team, and then they have someone working with them that's been there before. So that's where that heart comes from. Really, it's from a place of we can do this together, and you can go as far as you want, and you're not alone.
I love that, because I think far too often, and I don't even want to just limit it to minorities, but there's this crab in a bucket mentality where we feel like we have to compete and fight each other. It's like, no, like we can all eat,
Yes.
You can service transportation. I can service e-commerce, or even if we both service transportation, they may like you more than they like me. So I like that. Like everybody can get a piece of the pie.
Yeah. And there's enough out here. There's enough out here.
I love it. I love it. And so on the flip side, you assist transportation business owners. I don't want to just say trucking, but what does that consist of?
So that consists of hotshot drivers. When I say hotshot drivers, you can be work in the transportation industry as a truck driver. You can be a fleet owner, or you can be a hotshot driver, which means you simply help move material or tools from one place to another. For example, I have a client that works with a car dealership, and all he does is transport tools and supplies. Or maybe a new car is needing to go to another location, so they transport the cars. So it could be in any way. And then also those that work in logistics.
Okay, that's good. So what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes that you see in the transportation industry when it comes to their tax and accounting?
Paperwork. Paperwork. Keeping up with the records. That is the
Right.
biggest thing.
Right. Because they're driving, right? They don't have time to do their
Yeah,
bookkeeping.
definitely. They don't have time to do the bookkeeping, or they can make their time if they use their time management wisely or set up a system. And so that's some of the things that we talk about, setting up a system that's going to work for you. I don't try to box them into you have to use QuickBooks or you have to use a certain system. I kind of find out what works for them and we flow from that area till they get to another level where they can.
That's really good. That's really good. Now, so we're on this project, this collaboration. And so what is your chapter discussing and how are you helping us in this book?
So I'm talking about tax planning.
Okay.
Tax planning is my subject for this book.
Okay. What is tax planning, please?
Tax planning is really making sure that the taxpayer pays the least amount of taxes using different IRS strategies. There are actually strategies that the IRS allows so that we can pay the least amount, but it's all depending on how your business is set up. How your business is structured has a lot to do on the taxes that you pay.
Interesting. So if you go online, you hear everyone talking about S Corp, S Corp, S Corp.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a certain structure. Is that something that you recommend for every client, or is everyone's situation different? And if you could just touch on that.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, everyone's situation is different. I do not recommend S Corp for everyone. There's a certain limit that you want to net in your profit, in your income before you make that change. And that's something you actually want to talk to your tax professional about. And if they're not available to talk to them, you want to find a tax advisor or reach out to one of us or get the book, definitely. And I will give you all of the information that you want to look for seeing which tax strategy, which entity is going to be the best for you, because it's not one entity fits all. You know how we say one size fits all? It's not one entity fits all. It depends on you and where your goals are for your business.
Okay, that's good. Now, what are the other options when it comes to choosing an entity?
So, of course, you have the single member LLC, which is you're a single person that's a limited liability company. You can also become a partnership, which is 2 or more individuals who come together for a business. Your S Corp is a tax classification. And of course, the C Corp is another option that you can use as a business entity. All of them have different benefits. They also have different requirements from the IRS. So that's something you want to make sure that you have an idea of where you want to go in your business. It's not just starting a business. You really want to have a plan. And from that plan, we develop the entity that's going to be best for you so that you can get the best tax planning strategies that's going to work for you.
That's good. That's really good. I think people don't realize that they get a business and they don't realize that choosing the entity is really key in making sure not only is your business set up for liability purposes, but also to make sure that you're maximizing the tax benefits.
Yes. And to understand that we start in one place, but we don't have to stay there. We keep moving, we keep growing, and we keep changing and evolving. And that's okay. I think sometimes we feel like as a business owner, when we start in a certain place, we have to stay in that place. And that's not true. We should be growing and we should be evolving.
That's good. That's really good. And do you find that, and I don't think it's industry specific, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or if it's a mentality thing where people kind of want to make the least amount of money, assuming that, well, if I didn't make any money this year, I won't pay any taxes. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not in this for a hobby. Like, you're in it to grow. You're in this to make money.
You're in it to make money.
Wealth and, all that fun stuff for your family. So
yes, definitely. You should really, I think it is a mindset thing, because in the beginning, when you're younger, you're probably used to receiving so much of a refund, but you should get to the place in your life that your question is, how much am I going to get? But what's the least amount I need to pay?
Absolutely.
And that goes towards your growth, your maturity in your business, your maturity in your mindset. Because when you look at paying taxes, that means your income has elevated, which is why it's so important that at the beginning of the year or whenever you can, you put a tax plan in place so that you can anticipate that growth and then use the tax savings for it.
That's good. Now, on the flip side, I met with a client the other day, and she had about $250,000 to $300,000 in profit, and she was set up as a sole prop. And I'm like, oh, I'm just cringing inside. She's like, no one ever told me this. I had no idea. And I felt so bad for her. So it's really important as a business owner that you take responsibility for, your business, and don't just rely on like social media, but also do your research.
Yeah. And I think it's important that as a business owner, you have a team. A team that starts off from the very beginning, because one, you don't have to do that by yourself. If you have a team of advisors, your lawyer, your tax advisor, those people that can say, hey, let's look out for this. We want to be making sure that you're doing this. That will help you not be in the situation where you're profiting almost $300,000 and you're still a sole prop. You're literally giving money to the Internal Revenue Service.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad for her. So that's really good.
We would have been looking at a tax plan real quick.
Yes. I was like, oh God. But and this was like a seasoned accountant that she said she was working with. So I was just really shocked. So it is important to have that team of professionals, because hopefully if she had a team, someone would have caught it,
Yes. Someone would have caught it. She should have been it would have been nice if she would have had quarterly reviews, so we can pay attention to the cash flow and make sure that once that cash flow hits a certain point, we start doing some things and shifting some things so that she can minimize her taxes.
That's good. So we don't want to give away too much from the book. So
no, we don't.
Definitely choose the right entity structure. Then also quarterly reviews. That's really good. Is there any other tip or something that you share with us?
Let's talk about tax avoidance versus tax evasion.
Okay.
Now, it is legal for us to avoid paying taxes. We should all strive to pay the least amount of taxes. Right. That is a legal strategy. However, we should not participate in tax evasion. That means I know I made the money, but I want to get around the Internal Revenue Service. I think it's important for us to know that there are so many ways that the IRS can find out what kind of money you're making and how you're making it. Especially in our society, we are so tech driven that everything we do can be tracked. So I think it's important for us, if we want to grow in our business, let's avoid taxes and not evade them. Let's just avoid paying the taxes, be smart, and structure ourselves correctly.
That's really good. Funny story. Well, it's not really funny, but after the PPP loans and all that stuff, I literally saw on Facebook, somebody was I forgot where they were, but they were at a restaurant, living it up, spend their money. And then they came in to arrest them, while they were on live, flaunting the cash that they fraudulently got from a PPP loan. So Uncle Sam will find out. It may not be this year. It may not be next year. But they definitely could find out. So it is important. Make sure you're legally avoiding taxes.
Yes.
That's really good. Any other tips, nuggets that you want to share with us?
I think that's it for now. I just want to encourage everyone to invest in the book that we're collaborating on. I think it will really, really take your business to the next level.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, we didn't talk about what's the name of your business and how can the people get in contact with you?
Oh, okay. The name of my business, Rolanda's Tax and Professional Service. You can definitely email me at info@mytaxlady.net. The website is mytaxlady.net. And there you'll find all of the contact to get in contact with me.
Is that also if they wanted to start a tax business?
You can, yes. If you want to start a tax business, you can contact me there as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, Rolanda, thank you so much for your time. And
thank you.
Get the book, learn some more information on tax planning. Thank you, Rolanda.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
All right, family. Thank you so much. We will catch you next week on Legacy Solutions Podcast.